Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up here on today's show, I'm going to give you guys a Zamir White trade idea. And I say this because something happened in the NFL today that I almost wonder opens up the door just a little bit for the Raiders to potentially trade away Zeus. And then the question that I got today multiple times, and I got a text message from our guy, Bryce B. Shout out to you. He was like, dude, would you go out and sign Jadeveon Clowney? I'm going to give you my answer to this one here on today's episode. Before I do, though, huge shout out to our sponsor, Panda Supps. Use code GENTY for 25% off. Also, a little bit later in the show, I'm going to tell you guys what my wedding stack is. The products that I've been using from Panda Supps that have helped me lose probably 15 to 20 pounds over the past 2 months, and I'm trying to get into good shape for my wedding, which I don't know if you guys have been able to tell or not. Let's get into the news, though, and the big NFL news that happened today is the Carolina Panthers. They released Jadeveon Clowney, and he had 5.5 sacks last season with Carolina. As soon as any time big NFL news happens, I always sit there and I go, either A, does it make sense for the Raiders to go out and get him, or B, would the Raiders even be interested? So my question to the nation out there, and this is the number one question that I want you to answer, should the Las Vegas Raiders go out and sign Jadeveon Clowney? If you're like, yes, Mitch, they should, I want you to type sign down below. If you're like, nah, dude, we don't really need him, I want you to type pass. For me personally, I look at Clowney as being an opportunity that the Raiders could go out and they would sign him. And I'll tell you this, if I was Pete Carroll and John Spytek, I would go out and sign Clowney. Now, that's being said, I'm not going to go out and spend him a lot of money. I'm thinking like $5 million, $4 million, give him some incentives, because if he's not getting after the quarterback, then obviously that changes my overall thought process. But here's why, if I was the Raiders, I would go out and I would sign Clowney. He had 15 sacks the past 2 seasons, and he's also been a very productive player over the past 4 or 5 years. Like, I know we always look at sacks, especially with an edge rusher. And Clowney has struggled getting some sacks. And I know that he's never had double-digit numbers. He's been a player that was the number 1 overall pick. I still remember the South Carolina hit that he laid on the Michigan Wolverines. But I do think that Clowney can still help a football team. 46 tackles last season, 5.5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss. And that was on one of the worst football teams in the league last year in the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers moved on from Clowney to save money. And I think that they're also doing it because Carolina's in a rebuild. So it doesn't really make sense for Carolina to pay somebody that's getting up there in age. I know that the Raiders are in their own little rebuild mode right now, but this is a football team that wants to win, and they want to be able to win right now. So when you look at what Clowney has done over the past 4 seasons, you're telling me somebody that has put up the amount of numbers that he has put up, and he's, again, reliable in the running game, and he's reliable to get after the quarterback. I don't need somebody that's going to be a lot of money, but if you're telling me I can get him at like a $4 or $5 million deal, throw some incentives in there, hell yeah, I'm interested in Jadeveon Clowney. Let's go to the next reason here. Think about this offseason. One of the players that the Raiders really wanted to bring back, and one guy that I was a little bit upset that we weren't able to bring back, Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney was a former Carolina Panther and had tons of talent, and we were able to figure out how to get the most out of him in Rob Leonard. I know that there are some concerns around Jadeveon Clowney, but we were able to turn Jadeveon Clowney into a 5-sack player, 32 tackles. I don't want people to look at the question of should you go out and get Clowney and only think of Clowney. That's not what the thought process should be. It should go, do we still have Rob Leonard? Yep. Do we still have Patrick Graham? Yep. Do we want to be able to find a Jadeveon Clowney replacement? Yeah. Why not try to go out and do it with Jadeveon Clowney, a guy that was just a part of the Carolina Panthers? I think that I believe in Rob Leonard so much. It's why I would go out there and do it. Let's go to the other reason here. Connections matter. Relationships matter. If you don't think connections and relationships matter, you haven't been watching the Raiders at all this entire offseason. And the fact that Clowney played for Pete Carroll with the Seattle Seahawks back in 2019, the relationship, check it off, because this one might matter the most. In 2019, Clowney had 31 tackles. He had 3 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and he had 2 touchdowns. He had a pick-6 touchdown, he had a fumble recovery touchdown, and he also was, again, very solid against the run. I mean, look at these 2019 PFF grades. In 650 snaps, an overall grade of 87.3, a pass rush grade of 79.1, a run defense grade of 80.8. If the last memory that Pete Carroll has is the 2019 version of Jadeveon Clowney, then I think that that's going to be a memory that Pete Carroll sits back there and he goes, all right, this guy was a good player for us. This was somebody that helped us win some football games. And I get it. Maybe he hasn't been as good. But when you go through and you look at Jadeveon Clowney from a career standpoint, from 2014 all the way up, his second highest graded PFF season of his career, 2019 with Pete Carroll. Let's go to the next reason here of why I would do it. We have money to spend. Like, I want to be able to allocate money to the Colton Miller extension. I want to be able to allocate money to the Jacoby Myers extension. And I'll be real, I would tell Pete Carroll and John Spytek before we go out and sign Clowney, let's get those 2 deals done because that's a higher priority to me. But if you got the money to do it, and if there's a need there, $36.8 million in cap space left, that's 5th most in the NFL, we can do that. But then we knew that the Raiders were interested in Jalen Walker. Think about all the reports this offseason about the Raiders looking for a true outside linebacker edge rusher. I mean, that's what Clowney is, and that's what he's able to bring to the table. If we didn't have any money, no, I really wouldn't do it. But we have plenty of money to go get Jadeveon Clowney because it's not going to cost all that much. Here's one thing I will promise you, though. If the Raiders make this deal, we're going to go live. And anytime that there's Raiders breaking news, we go live here on the Raiders Report. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure your notifications are turned on. And I want y'all to join the Noti Gang. Because you know what? People that are a part of the Noti Gang, I know when I go live, y'all are going to be here. So shout out to Clint. Shout out to Twinkie. Shout out to Mike. Shout out to RJ Van. I see y'all are part of the Noti Gang, and you take pride in being in that comment section when I drop a video. It means a lot to me. Let's go to the last reason here of why I think that the Raiders should go out and sign Clowney. Compete. And that's a key word. Compete with Tyree Wilson. If you don't think that bringing in Jadeveon Clowney lights a fire underneath this guy's ass, it's time to wake up. And I know that he's already knows that his back's against the wall. It's the 3rd year. But one of the players that I compared Tyree Wilson to when he was first coming out was Jadeveon Clowney, a long, a lanky, very athletic player that when he's right, he's really good. And I honestly would want Clowney to put his arm around Tyree and say, hey, this is how I think that, what you should do, and here's what we should try to go out and accomplish. Because if you have an older Clowney and you have Tyree Wilson, it is going to get the best out of Wilson. And that's almost one of the most important things that I think the Raiders got to try to accomplish this season. I mean, imagine if the light bulb goes on this season, he plays like a number 7 overall pick. I mean, we might have the best defense in the National Football League. And if Clowney is a player that helps make that happen, that's a good $4 to $5 million investment. Like, I'm not spending $4 to $5 million on just Jadeveon Clowney in that mind. I'm spending an extra $4 or $5 million for a guy that's going to go out there and compete to get the best out of Tyree Wilson. That sounds like really, really good money being spent. Coming up next here on the show, I'm going to get into my Zamir White trade idea because something also happened today around the NFL that makes me wonder, could we trade Zamir White? And I don't know if there's a single NFL team out there that would want Zamir, but based on something that happened today, I think that there might be one team, and I think Zamir White would want to play for that NFL team. I'll tell you who that is here in just a moment, but I do want to give a shout out to Panda Supps. Again, whether you need some protein, some pre-workout, whether you need some BCAAs, a fat burner, they got all sorts of products, and I just need you to use code GENTY for 25% off at pandasupps.com. Now, one of the things that I said I would show y'all is these are the products that I am using right now to help me get in shape for my wedding. I use their Fuel Premium Protein. I have a strawberry one, and I have a chocolate one. Strawberries here at work, chocolates at home because I crave chocolate at night. I have my BCAAs, my EAA, which is something that I use after I work out. Also, like a Thursday happy hour to make sure I'm hydrated. I use that. I use my creatine monohydrate because I want to try to, bulk up a little bit and make sure my muscles are healthy. And then I've been using Cuts, which is their fat burner. And I've legitimately lost 15 to 20 pounds probably in the year of 2025. I'll admit, football season, we put on some weight because we're not afraid to get after it. But if you guys are trying to get into good shape, and maybe you've noticed it, maybe you haven't. I don't know. I feel like I've noticeably have lost weight and I'm getting into better shape. It's because, I'm eating right. I'm working out, but I'm also using products to get the most out of my workout, and I hope that you guys go try it out because I'm telling you, Panda Supps is got the best protein on the market. If you don't want to try anything else besides what I talked about, you got to try their protein. It is the best protein you'll ever have. 25% off at pandasupps.com. Use code GENTY. I can't tell you it's going to make you look like Genty. That guy's an alien. But you're at least going to lose some weight. You're going to look a little bit better, and you're going to be able to help a Raiders fan. Let's go to the news that happened today that makes me wonder, could we trade away Zamir White? So the Panthers running back Jonathon Brooks tore his ACL during Week 14 last season, and basically only played, 3 games as a rookie guy out of Texas, and this was actually one of the top running backs in the 2024 class, and now he's out the entire year already. So when you look at what the Carolina Panthers running back depth chart, I get it. They got Chuba Hubbard. They got Rico Dowdle, and that's probably going to be their top 2 backs there. They drafted ETN. But if I was sitting there going, if they also had Jonathon Brooks, who is a physical running back, Brooks is light years better than what Zamir White is. But I think in terms of what Zamir White would want, he would probably want to go play for a team that he wants to go play for. And I don't know what teams out there would want him. But I'll tell you this, if I was the Raiders right now, if I was John Spytek and Pete Carroll, I would pick up the phone and I would call the Carolina Panthers and I would say, do you have any interest in Zamir White? And I say that because I don't think Zeus wants to be a part of this Raiders organization. Not because he doesn't want to be a Raider. I think that he knows that his time here is done. The Raiders drafted Ashton Genty, and if I would imagine he probably looks at his contract, sees that he's going to be a free agent next season, and he would probably go, I'd like to go play for a place where I actually have a chance maybe to get some touches out there, because he ain't going to get any touches here for the Raiders. So the fact that Jonathon Brooks is out for the 2025 season, maybe Zamir White would want to go back to where he grew up. So he grew up 2 hours from Bank of America Stadium, which is where the Carolina Panthers play, and anybody that follows Zamir knows how important his ranches and how important his horses are to him. It's where he spends his entire offseason. So what if we could send Zamir White to Carolina, located 2 hours away from where he lives, where he grew up, where he went to high school, where all his family is? I think that we got to look at this sometimes as not just a football way, but just a normal human being type of way. And you can't tell me Zamir White wouldn't want to be that close to where he spends all of his off seasons, and he could just go play for the Carolina Panthers. So I'm not going to ask for a lot. I'm only going to ask for a 7th-round pick, because I think that that's all you're probably going to get, and you're going to be able to save $1.1 million. So if I'm the Raiders, I go, all right, I get to save $1.1 million in 2025, and I'm going to use that $1.1 mil, and I'm going to put that money towards going out and potentially getting a guy like Jadeveon Clowney, because who would help the Raiders win more games this season? Zamir White or Jadeveon Clowney? Quite frankly, if Zamir White touches the field this season, it's absolute panic mode and pandemonium throughout the Raiders square. There's no reason why Zeus should touch the football field this season. So if we feel that way already, then let's just trade him away for a 7th-round pick, and I think it's a good way that we have a good handshake, we split up, and we go our separate ways. Because what I don't want is I don't want more running back drama, and I get it. Josh Jacobs' situation's totally different, but you can see that Jacobs still feels some type of way about the Raiders, and we're still talking about it to this day. What I don't want is another situation around a running back that we know we're going to move on from. Let's do right by Zamir. Let's help out our football team. Let's put some more money in our pocket, and let's just be our separate ways. I think it makes sense for both sides. So reminder, y'all, if you do not know, we are going to be doing some Madden live streams starting May 16th on Friday, because it's the Raiders off season. A lot more live shows. 4 live shows a week. Now, we're going to do it a little bit different than what we did last season. Tuesdays and Thursdays are still going to be our 3-segment shows where we're breaking down Raiders content. On Monday and on Friday, all you're going to get is a Raiders Madden live stream. We'll go live early. We'll tailgate for it. We'll have some drinks. We'll have a good time, because I don't know about y'all, I am so thirsty for some Raiders football, and I enjoy doing our Madden Sims, and I think that people also have a good time doing them as well. On Monday and on Fridays during the offseason, on the dates that you see up there, our plan is to go live and do a Raiders Madden Sim. Now, the new schedule comes out the 14th of May, which is Wednesday, 6 days from now, and I plan on going live for that again. It's still in the works, but I'm pretty confident we're going to go live for that. And then once we get the entire schedule, we'll upload that, and then you guys know, and it's always fun to see how each game, how each team goes. I'll admit, our Madden seasons last year were very inaccurate, but we had fun doing it, and at the end of the day, man, it's May, June, and July, and that's what it's about, having a good time, and I promise you, you're going to be a smarter Raiders fan, and I guarantee you're going to be having a lot of fun when you watch this show.